Welcome to the Late Night Warriors podcast, a show about animation, entertainment, and all sorts of other things that go on in the Warrior circles. And I'm Alex, and we've also got...
We also have Chris.
As always. Yeah, we should probably note, we were named the Late Night Podcast for a bit, but then I've come to a realization that there is actually another late night podcast out there right now that's sort of doing the same thing as us. Well, I gotta be honest, I didn't check that late night podcast much, sorry, but I also want to say hi. But
if they ever check us out.
Yeah. But we're going to be changing the name of our podcast to the more aptly named LNW podcast. Maybe it's temporary, but I don't know. I think that name's cool. Of course, a long name is Late Night Warriors podcast, but hey, just say LNW podcast and you're good.
Yeah, I like Late Night Warriors podcast. You did make a good point. Late Night podcast is a pretty generic name.
Yeah, if you search it on YouTube, there's like, I linked 2 channels in our little notes over here, but there's like actually a ton more late night podcasts.
I looked through those links that you placed here, and I was like, oh wow, all right, fair enough. I mean, it is kind of generic now that it's mentioned. So I mean, it's not a big name change, but you could call it LNW podcast or Late Night Warriors podcast, as long as you add the word Warriors to the end of late night, because we're already calling ourselves Late Night Warriors, even though we've been recording our podcasts during the middle of the day. So
it is,
you can even call this if you want, you can call it the Midday Warriors podcast.
Yeah, and that's what happens, man, when you got commitments to go to.
Yeah. Again, to those podcasts that are listening, if you manage to find the right episode where we're talking to you directly, hi.
Yeah. Hey, sorry for taking your name. We'll keep our brand to ourselves.
To be fair, some of you guys aren't even active. The name is up for grabs.
But it's also like, we would get lost in
the search results.
Yeah, the search results. But I mean, anyways.
Speaking of Late Night Warriors, follow our Twitter. One day we'll post something. Besides the tweets that say new podcast episode, give us a reason to tweet, please. I'm begging you. Yeah. Please.
That Twitter is at LNW Duo. Again, you can keep up to date with new podcasts, new videos, whatever nonsense you'd like to see from us on Twitter someday.
Yep. Now that we got the formalities out of the way, what's first on the list?
So the treasured show that we thought would never come out from J.G. Quintel that was slated for TBS, Close Enough, finally came out on HBO Max as of July 9th. Though its first episode did premiere earlier this year at the Annecy Film Festival. And that first showing, I guess, just talk about that briefly. It was a bit concerning to see what came out of it at first, like, because you could tell. We'll just point out this flaw from the get-go that, like, the 11 minutes that the show ended up being packed up into, you could tell that they had to crunch what was originally going to be half-hour plot lines. And like if something definitely felt like lost within their edits, especially from that episode they showed at the Annecy Film Festival, which I believe the episode is called 100% No Stress Day. And
I'll talk about it more later on, but one of the big gripes, at least for me personally, was the pacing issue and the fact that they crammed so much. It seemed like they crammed so much. And being the first episode that they decided to premiere ahead of their series kind of gave me a little bit of a not bad vibe, but a bad feeling as to what was to come. Ultimately, though, overall, I ended up liking them a lot.
Yeah, it ended up being very enjoyable.
It was a really weird choice to place that episode out first, since for you and me, it it was a bit of a bad first impression, but and even though some episodes did kind of suffer the same issue, overall it was the entire first season was pretty good. I like it. I
Yeah, it
like the
was super
show.
entertaining. I didn't go over what the show was about, but it's about a millennial couple in their early 30s, and they also got a daughter. And it's somewhat like JG Quintel's other show, regular show. It's just about these characters going through about their life, but from time to time they have to go through these really surreal sort of challenges and crises that they face along the way. That's either related to developments going on in their life or just nonsense. But it's super fun. But
Yeah,
in regards to the whole thing about like the 11-minute runtime, like and the pacing, yeah, early on that show, from what it seemed, was going to be a half-hour show for TBS because I imagine that's so they could fit in with the other half-hour cartoons they got. Like, I guess, well, the only one they have at that point is American Dad, but yeah, it just never came to be, I guess, because there was probably more executive meddling than what happened with Final Space Season 2. I don't know. TBS is really weird because ultimately what happened to Close Enough was, yeah, it was going to be part of this. We probably mentioned this before already, but like it was going to be in an animation block for TBS, which was to consist of Final Space, Close Enough, Tarantula, and this Louis C.K. show, The Cops. And of course, because Louis C.K. couldn't keep it to himself, he pretty much killed that block. And the fate of a lot of those shows, like Final Space, that was the only one that actually got a chance at CBS. No, TBS, my bad. And it's now on Adult Swim, I guess. Tarantula ended up getting dumped online. That just got the axe right after because like they knew they lost a lot probably from conceiving the animation block, unfortunately. And then Close Enough, they didn't want to. I mean, I guess at least they didn't want to kill it right away. But like everyone was just concerned when they had this trailer that was really polished compared to even Final Spaces at the time they released it at San Diego Comic Con, and like nothing came out in regards to Close Enough for like 3 years. But I mean, yeah, it finally came out. And actually, according to a recent Reddit AMA that JG Quintel did, Close Enough was indeed going to be a half-hour show. But what he notes, rather than directly noting like the animation block failing, which is that's basically what Olin Rogers, the creator of Final Space, said as his take on why Close Enough didn't come out sooner. But basically, JG Quintel, yeah, he wanted to make Close Enough a 22-minute show, but he and his crew, they got a pretty big note to cut the episodes in half. And he also mentions that the merger that happened at the time of Time Warner and AT&T slowed down the show's production a lot because I imagine when this merger closed off, they were probably thinking, hey, as in the TBS execs, they were thinking, like, can we save this show for something better? And I guess that something better was HBO Max. So if you're curious as to like why Close Enough has like a lot of censorship on what is an HBO service, a lot of Close Enough is left over from the fact that it's a TBS show. And yeah, hopefully by the time they get to season 3, they'll get to be a little more unrestrained with what they can do. But I mean, no matter.
I thought it had some of its restraints a little bit loose for its first season. Uh, at least from what I binge watched the series not in about a day, and I want to say about a week. And even though that doesn't sound like binge watching a whole season in 1 week, keep in mind I have other things to do besides watching shows, like bumming out at home, being a loser. Very, very high on the list on things to do. But from what I remember, I don't remember like any heavy like censorship. Was there?
I mean, there are a couple blurs when they were showing nude characters, and apparently earlier drafts that were shown in the French version of the show, not the version that showed at the film festival, but Adult Swim France airs Close Enough. Apparently, it's a little less censored there. but it's still blurred.
I had no
You
idea.
could you could
I
you
don't.
could tell you could distinguish the genitals a little more, I guess I'll say, in the French
I
version
don't.
apparently.
I don't remember any nude censorship, but that's probably because
It's mostly
I'm like,
frontal censorship, but yeah.
I have to rewatch the show because I don't remember that. Probably because I'm in the middle of like watching through regular show on HBO Max.
Huh.
Yeah, I was hoping to finish the entirety of regular show before Close Enough came out, but I'm not committed to the binging game as some other people are.
I wanted to
Uh,
try that too, but I just went into close enough. Just mostly playing about what
yeah,
happened in
no,
the rest of the regular show, but so it was still
yeah. I mean,
fun.
I still watched Close Enough during my regular show binge watch. The only reason I wanted to watch all of regular show, well, part of it is because I wanted to see it before Close Enough, but the other part of it was because, well, I think I told you I sort of trailed off from watching television several years ago.
Yeah.
So there's like 2 or 3 seasons of regular show that I have literally have never seen, and I just entered that section of my viewing.
Sweet.
So it went from like, watching episodes and I'm like, oh yeah, I know what happens. This is a good episode. And now I'm in this part of the show where I'm like, oh shoot, I don't know what's happening. And it's weird because like I know like the beginning, a little bit of the middle. I don't know what happens between the middle and the end. And then I think I saw season 8 of regular show because it was ending. So it's like I gotta see that at least. But it's weird because it's like I don't know if it's spoilers at this point, but I'm in that part of the show where like Mordecai is dating CJ. And at the end I know they split later on, but it's really weird knowing that because I'm watching the show and I'm like, man, personally I think CJ and Mordecai are better together than him with Margaret. But then it's like, well, yeah, I could say that, but I know it's not going to work out with CJ. So now it's like instead of enjoying the moment of what's going on in the show, it's almost kind of like, oh great, now I got to know how we get to that point in the story in the future. It's almost kind of like How I Met Your Mother, like you know the ending, but you're only watching it to see how we get from A to B to C. So yeah, but from where I'm at, it's those episodes that I haven't seen pretty good. I'm I don't know if it's just me, but I'm sort of questioning whether or not the show has like toned down its wackiness by that point. But then again, on the other hand, it's like, well, if you've been binge watching regular show for that long up until that point,
It's like
I
sort of
think you get a little,
normalized, huh?
yeah, you get normalized. Like I've been thinking, what? Like I didn't feel like anything crazy happened in that episode. Like it just seems so normal. But then it's like, well, wait, if I'm this far in the show, it's probably why, because by that point of the show, it feels so normal. You don't even like blink at it. You're just kind of like, oh yeah, that's normal. That's literally nothing new. But of
Yeah.
course, they do go all out for the final episode for the final season when they send the whole park in space.
Hmm.
um, but yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling with where I'm at with regular show. I mean, it's not a review of regular show. I mean, I already like it, but that's kind of how I feel at that point of the show. But this is a huge tangent from Close Enough
It
because
is a
if you see
bit,
the
but I mean,
if you see the notes that we wrote for this episode, almost an entire page and a half was dedicated to Close Enough.
yeah. Which I should mention, by the way, season 2 had already been like written by like early 2019. My sources, well, apparently there's a Twitter out there of I guess their digital bouncing ball they have at the writers' room sort of hinted at the writing's almost complete for season 2, and I'm like, what this and this was in early 2019, and the show had not come out yet. And
You're getting ahead of
yeah, and it just got greenlit for season 2, like just not too long ago, as of this early August. That just makes me wonder, though. Like, I wonder if they're going with what they've already written last year, and we're probably going to get this new season sooner as a result, or if they're going to have to do more of that retooling again. I mean, I guess that's just the sort of the nature of the beast. for animation, I imagine, or just any production in general. You got the writing done before you get greenlit, and then hey,
I
you got
mean,
greenlit.
either way, this
Congrats!
was
But now,
e-
yeah,
I feel like this was a little bit of a weird production because of that whole 3 year wait, because we probably did some writing behind the scenes during that time.
I guess that's pretty
I don't know.
normal. I mean, because that means you're working ahead of schedule. That's good, right?
Hmm.
But I mean, I haven't been able to work in Hollywood yet, so who knows? Yeah, either
But
way, like even though they did cut down a lot of close enough to 11 minutes, and like they lost a bit of space in the process, like and just the little things like the character dynamics and whatnot are a little lost in the edits. It ended up being one of the more hilarious shows this year, honestly. Like one of the more enjoyable new shows that have come out. One of my top favorites. And yeah, I'm just glad it finally came out. And after all these years of gloom about whether or not it is even going to come out. And we'll have to wait and see how season 2 rolls out. If it's still going to be like, if they've already figured out how to work with 11 minutes for an adult show, which I guess that's considering that a lot of that team has worked on regular show before. I'm sure they've got something going right now.
well, I hope they do the full 22 minutes for season 2. I think the show would probably season 1 would have been a lot longer if they didn't cut those individual stories into like 11 minutes, because that's kind of how all of season 1 was. It was like 22 minutes, but like it was like one episode, but well, not one episode, but like one viewing of one episode. According to HBO Max, was like 2 shorter episodes.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly. And I think there was like 2 episodes in season 1 that actually were like a full 22 minutes.
actually, there's only one. It was that final episode.
I thought there were. I thought there was 2.
I thought there was too, but apparently there's only one.
Well, I mean, even in those, I kind of felt like even in their 22-minute long story episode, I still felt like there were some things here and there that they kind of seemed like they sort of outpaced their own pacing in a way. Like it still felt like some little things were rushed here and there. I don't know. I mean, it sounds like I'm such a huge stickler for pacing. Maybe I am in a way, because for me at least, it gets really annoying when I'm watching something and all of a sudden it's like things go from A to B really quickly.
It actually happens quite a bit on adult sitcoms, from what I can tell. At least like a lot of the later Simpsons, and I'm pretty sure Family Guy too. They do a lot of that early on, where like the first few minutes it's just not about the main plot, and then eventually you get there.
That's one thing that I kind of came to appreciate about Family Guy. Weirdly enough, that some of their like the plot of the episode, it like starts off in a completely different spot, and then I wouldn't say it gradually goes over, but then it goes from like X to Y to Z, and then we start off at A, B, and C.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's kind of something that I kind of came to appreciate about Family Guy. We just start off at like at a completely different situation, and then all of a sudden we go from situation A to B, and I don't know. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of shows do that, because like it's probably like a sort of common thing to do in shows. Just kind of start off like that, just to get people to warm up to like the humor.
Yeah, to the main meat of the episode. Yeah. I mean, not to imply that that's what every show should do, nor do I want to sound like, oh yeah, like every show should take like a full hour to like go from A to B. Nothing like that, especially if we're talking about TV. But I don't know, like
kind of going off of the tangent a bit, but I think I've seen a lot of people say that they kind of like the rapid pacing of Close Enough. Like it ultimately adds to the like the surreal humor it has in the end, and it just like kind of reminds me of the regular show too. It was like regular show was a bit like that as well.
Yeah.
But I guess the idea of regular show was still a little more simpler.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to say that the fast pacing of Close Enough or even any other like media that fast pacing is like makes it completely unwatchable, or it's a completely downgrades the quality of their storytelling abilities. But I mean, it's just something that I've kind of noticed, not just with Close Enough, but with other shows or movies as of late. It almost kind of seems like there's this bit of a trend where we're just kind of going right into it, which it's fine. Like you said, regular show does that, but it's not like glaring, because I think what you said is right. It's kind of more simpler. It's pretty simple, and it works for a regular show. And then with Close Enough, I don't know. I think with Close Enough, they have like an A and B plot in each episode, right?
Yeah. Well, I think some episodes don't have that, but there's a decent amount that do.
Yeah, I mean, I can't exactly put my finger on it, and I'm not claiming myself as an expert with pacing or anything, but I don't know. For me, it's just like, oh, if I feel that it has bad pacing and it comes off with a bad taste in my mouth, then I would probably voice my opinion on it. But like I said earlier, overall, the show is pretty good. It's really good. Even if you think I'm saying it's a total flaw, the pacing issue, it's still a really good show. Even if we were to ignore that, it's still a good show overall, I guess, is the general consensus between you and me.
Yeah. How do you feel that finally
Pretty
came out?
good. Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing. We're just both glad that it's finally out. I mean, not just you and me. I mean, a bunch of other people who have been following the show are also like relieved that it's out.
Yeah, it finally can see the light of day.
Yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to season 2 for sure. Whether they improve on it, whether it's improved or whether it's like the same thing as season 1 in terms of how they made it, I think it's safe to say that I will enjoy season 2 no matter what they do. It's a pretty decent show overall, and I think your enjoyment of the show is enhanced when you already like regular show, because
Yeah, I mean,
every now
it's
and
not
again
like, I hate to say this, it's not like regular show, but
but what are you gonna say?
it's close enough.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. But apparently there are some Easter eggs of regular show.
Yeah, there's like quite a few actually. They go by
Yeah,
real quick.
yeah,
Have you like
that's what I was.
I
That's what
mean,
I was gonna bring
actually,
up.
I kind of want to mention some, but I don't know if we'd be spoiling it, and if not enough people have seen it still. So I'll
Well,
just say that
well,
there are
well,
quite a
well,
few.
well, a big one, which is kind of like in your face for half a second, is in that episode where they're looking at open houses,
Oh yeah, it's like
and
one
then
of the.
and then
I
you
think
have
it's the
like
first
the
episode.
the house. Yeah, you have like the house just right there.
Yeah, the
Pretty,
house.
pretty. Yeah. Not a subtle one, but when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, it's the house, it's the park, it exists in the same universe.
Yeah,
And they
it's
got me
very.
thinking, if they exist in the same universe, then like how come I don't see like any random animal characters in the background? Is this like an alternate universe where
Well, I don't know if you saw that last episode, but I mean, I know I'm sure you did, but like, there
no, yeah,
definitely
I saw the whole show, yeah.
there's a definitely a more natural version of Mordecai in there somewhere if you look hard enough.
Yeah, I've noticed not even just in that episode, but I've noticed every now and again they'll throw in a random blue jay.
Hmm.
and I'm
Oh,
like
they
and
done it
I'm
more
like,
than once. Huh?
I'm pretty sure I've seen a blue jay like at least twice in the show. But
Gotcha.
then again, maybe with this whole talk about like what I've maybe seen or what I don't remember, probably a good excuse to rewatch Close Enough. You know what? That's probably what I'll do. I will rewatch Close Enough, because I don't like watching something in one go. And what I mean by that is I don't like to watch a movie once and that's it. And it's the same with TV shows. But like TV shows, there's more work because there's more episodes. Because it's not like watching one movie over again and that's it in one sitting. It's
Yeah,
like
that's only like
you
a
gotta go
couple
through all the
hours or so.
episodes. Yeah.
and then a TV
Not
show
trying to
is more than
not
that
trying to make it sound
usually.
like a first world problem or anything, but
Yeah.
that's just the fact of TV, which is what I really like about hoping to work with TV one day.
Where do you hope to
But
not work at one day? I'll ask that.
well, if we're talking about in terms of studio or network, I think Quibi is kind of high up on there in a place that I don't want to be involved in.
Uh,
I know you guys can't see it, but as a joke, I threw in a picture of Jeffrey Katzenberg in here. I was
yeah,
trying to
a
find
really big picture.
I was
It's
trying to
just
find a
funny.
sad.
Yeah, it's funny because I
I was,
remember. I think it was Tim Heidecker who was all like, "Thank God I didn't get on a Quibi call." So not even people in Hollywood want to do stuff for Quibi. Not all of them, at least.
yeah,
But hey, guess what?
yeah. I mean,
This is I guess good
what?
news for them once. They've got 10 Emmy nominations somehow. 10
Whoa,
Emmy nominations,
crazy!
despite the fact that they are not doing well because of the
Because according to him,
coronavirus.
yeah, according to Quibi founder guy,
I don't know
it's the
why we keep bringing that
coronavirus's
point
fault.
up, but a lot at this point.
It's funny. It's a pretty funny point.
But hey, man,
Speaking of
it's just
Quibi,
cool. Yeah. What's going on?
Peacock just came out not too long ago, and
No,
it's free. Now,
that's the biggest thing
Alex,
it's got going for it, I think.
yeah, Alex here was telling me that he doesn't really care much for Peacock, which is
Nah.
fine. But part of the reason why I'm kind of interested in it is only because they're the only streaming service that has like a free plan.
Yeah, that's
So
pretty. I mean, that's still pretty cool because I think when they announced it, they were priced at $5, and that was going to be like the plan for the base. But I guess they're opening it up for free, probably because of COVID and stuff. Get as much people on those screens as possible.
yeah, but I'm kind of curious as to how far that free plan even goes. Oh, I think it's a given that there's going to be ads on it, but is it going to be like, are they going to limit what resolution you can watch the shows on, or because if you look at YouTube, like it's all free, period. When you make an account, you can upload, you can do this and that. But if we're talking about like a company that's managing, like a big company that's doing its own thing like that, then I'm just kind of wondering, like, it's free, but what's the catch? Is everything at 144p? Is there like ads every 6 seconds? Why
Oh
is it
man,
free? How
yeah,
far does it
there
go?
probably is some sort of Comcast curse going on when it comes to it being free. It's because
Yeah,
this is a Comcast streaming service we're talking about, and that's why I'm not interested in it.
yeah. Well, I kind of want to sign up for Peacock, but then again, I've reached the point where like I have so many like accounts. I'm kind of like I don't want to memorize another password, even though I use the same password for everything.
Well, no,
Whoops.
don't say that. Everyone's gonna hack you now. No one, and everyone will
They don't know
know.
my password.
Every hacker out there will know that you have go by one password.
They don't know what it is.
Hmm. All right.
I'm not going to tell them that my password is cookie cutter 87. They don't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, ignore that. Ignore that. You guys don't know that. It's
All
not
right.
cookie cutter 87. I do
So
not enjoy cookie cutters
we'll see about
or
that.
the number 87.
It's actually a cookie cutter 69, but anyways.
Yeah, don't tell them that too. I have variations of cookie cutter and then the number.
But in terms of their animation selection, I guess there's not much. I don't. It's weird considering they own Universal, and Universal did specialize in animation back in a way. But I mean, you got to have Woody Woodpecker in there. I think like the later iteration and some of the older sorts are in there. Uh, you
So
got
they have some DreamWorks stuff, right?
yes. I think I mentioned
That
a while
that
back that that's where the Madagascar show is arriving to. The baby
oh, okay,
Madagascar show to Peacock. I think
because
they
I
have
was on
some the dragon shows too. I think.
because I was gonna say that I saw Kung Fu Panda on HBO Max.
Yeah.
They had
Again,
they had
like we
they had
mentioned in
one
the streaming
answer.
episode, there's going to be a lot of mix-ups with the licensing still on to other services. So,
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I ever sign up for Peacock, I'll let you know how it is.
all right.
But I guess, but ultimately, free is pretty good.
Yeah.
I just want to know how much they're giving away for free or what limitations come with for free. Speaking of free, if you ever want to make a cake, that's free too. You just
Yeah,
got to
it's in
look
their
really hard.
yeah,
You
it's in
just
their
got to
terms
look
of
really
service
hard
apparently.
in the terms of service. Yeah.
Is this
This was
still in
coming
there?
up.
Let's see.
I'm
All
pretty
right, as
sure it
we
is. But
yeah, it's like some sort of
I
chocolate cake. Apparently, it's pretty decent. TV Guide cooked it, and yeah, I guess it doesn't look too bad. Yeah, that's pretty
yeah,
nice.
this was something that I found while browsing Twitter. I thought when I brought it up to you, Alex, I was like, "Oh, Alex is gonna know about this. He's
Cake
always
recipe is
somehow
still
on
there,
top
by
of
the
this
way.
stuff." Nice. I just thought you'd know about it when I told you because I'm like, "Oh, Alex is always on top of this kind of stuff. I'm sure he knows." But to my surprise, you were like, "What? Is that true?" And I'm like, "Oh, snap!
Yeah, I
Finally."
think I was reacting like that at first because there was a whole meme going on about how everything is cake, and because like
At, at the
there's this I think it was like a some sort of
It was like a
cake.
short-lived meme.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some cake maker from Texas or something made some like photorealistic, or not even photo, like hyper realistic sort of cakes where they're just cutting the knife into what looks to be like a normal like frock or something, but it's actually a cake, or like a toilet paper, it's actually a cake. So hey, why
you
not?
know,
Why not make the
I'm
peacock
I'm,
take some terms of service cake?
I'm surprised that kind of took off because those kinds of cakes have existed for a while now.
This is the internet,
And
dude. The way they put it
yeah,
out is
yeah,
certainly got
for the internet,
everyone's attention.
always being 10 steps ahead of everything, they're behind on stuff like this. It's kind of interesting. Like I knew about like I said, I knew about those kinds of cakes before because I've seen videos and pictures of them. They've existed for some time, but for as fast as the internet goes, being up to date on everything, it seemed like they were a little late to this. Like they treated it like as if it was a new discovery and turned it into a joke. Just like you've seen the dancing pallbearers, right? Have you seen that
No.
meme?
Uh,
It's like these dudes. They're holding a coffin, and the
oh
music
yeah, oh
goes.
yeah.
Duh.
I saw. Yeah, now I remember. Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. When I found the original video at the time, from now we're recording. That video is about like a few years old, and all of a sudden it's gaining traction. It's kind of like I thought that was a new thing, like that whole like dancing thing. I thought that was new, but I guess it turns out it's something that's been around for a while.
Yeah, there are some memes
So
that come out of old things for sure,
yeah,
but also you got to consider too lockdown. Nothing to do. What do?
yeah,
Find untapped meme gems.
unseen
So
potential. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's just a funny contrast, though. Ultimately, when the internet is all about staying on top of trends, then they just go back and dig up old stuff and turn those into bring it to the spotlight.
speaking of old stuff, we've
Old
uh
stuff.
we've got something that's pretty old from 2000. I think it's 2002. It's Phil Lord and Chris Miller's old show from MTV, Clone High, which has canceled really quickly and has gained a cult following throughout the years. And I'm a big fan of the show, and I'm just gonna say, like, to anyone who's seen the Lego Movie but hasn't seen Clone High, you should probably check out Clone High because it's got a
I will.
pretty
I will.
similar sense of humor, and honestly, it's great.
I will take note of that because I fit in that category. I have not seen Clone High, but I have seen the Lego Movie. I think I told you a while ago. I think I asked you because I was making a watch list on Google Docs,
Hmm.
making a list of shows I want to rewatch or watch for the first time.
Yeah,
And I think you mentioned Cloned High and The Critic.
and home movies too. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
still have those
those
on the list. So
those are three of my favorites, I'd say. But yeah,
yeah,
Clone High, that's coming back. and the original creators are back too. So this is not like it's not like some other reboots that are happening at Comedy Central, which we will mention later. But yeah, this one's actually going to be a reimagining too. So see that the reason why Clone High got canceled so soon was back in the day. They had a character, they had a clone. So the show's about like these genetic clones of famous people, but except they're high school teenagers who's going about through their high school lives, kind of like a parody of those high school shows that were popular at the time, like Dawson's Creek and stuff. And yeah, Gandhi was one of those figures, and it outraged a lot of his followers from India at the time, and it even caused a hunger strike over at Viacom's offices that ended up just getting the show canceled in '03, I think. But now we're getting it back, and it is a reimagining, so who knows if we'll get Gandhi back. One of the things they joked about actually is if he did come back, he would probably be like someone else, like Gary Coleman or something. So we'll see if they pull through with that. But yeah, that's coming back. And I was wondering when it will, because like, you know, these other shows coming back, and like Viacom has been trying, kind of banking hard on nostalgia lately, which you can tell if you've seen like their Netflix specials for Rocko's Modern Life, Invader Zim. And I think they did a Hey Arnold movie before that too. But yeah,
Yeah, they I think it was a series
yeah, the
like
Jungle
the
movie, the
yeah
long-awaited Jungle movie.
there's
But
a way to end the movie, not the movie but the show, right?
yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
man, these things are coming back, and I mean, say what you want about like reboots and whatnot, but Clone High is finally coming back. That's one of those shows I think that should at least get another chance, one more season, if anything, just so that magic doesn't go away, you know. But hey, I'm glad it's back.
Well, if I ever get the chance to check out the original Clone High, I'll be sure to check out the new Clone High that's coming out. Although I want to check out the old stuff first before I dive into that.
Definitely.
Um,
Most likely, even though it is a reimagining, there's probably going to be some just a bits of continuity in there for the fans.
it's
Just a
bound to happen for a show that's like over what, like it's about 20. I want to say it's about
yeah,
20
it's
years
almost
old.
20 years old at this point. And it's all, I mean, yeah, it's a cult classic too. So those fans who followed it for years and wanted it to come back, I'm sure they're going to get treated in some
Yeah,
way.
I'm sure you'll get treated too. Talking about yourself here with this Clone High stuff. But while Clone High is coming back, I don't know when Soul is coming back in theaters. I've been looking forward for Soul, but
It's still
even in the midst
November.
of
Nothing's
yeah, but
changed.
even in the midst of Soul still not out, Pixar had already revealed their upcoming film after Soul, I believe, which is called Luca. Luca,
Yes.
yes,
It's from
Luca, yeah,
one of their Italian creators, Enrico Casaroca, who did the short La Luna beforehand, which
yeah. I have to
yeah,
rewatch La Luna. I think I've only seen that short like once.
it is. It's
Uh,
actually other than the Day and Night, it's one of the more visually unique Pixar shorts, I think. Well, I mean, to be
think so.
fair, like a lot of the shorts beforehand, they followed a similar sort of character design, I feel. Like at least when
Mm,
you look at well, what I'm thinking of the contemporaries at the time, I'm thinking of like One Man Band and
hmm
Presto. I'm not faulting those shorts. I'm just saying like Luna was pretty nice with its character design. But his
mm,
new movie Luca, it's so the plot thus far, as we know, it's about a young boy. He adventures together with his best friend, whose true identity is that of a sea monster from another world that's deep within the sea, I assume. Or maybe it's not too deep. And, you know, that world, they don't approve of his friendship, so it's going to be about like the kind of challenges that they're going to face as a result of the sea world. I hate to call it that, but trying to clash with their friendship. But yeah, they've showed some concept art. I think yeah, it's for production art as a part of the announcement. And I'm wondering
well,
like if the character
that's all they
designs are going to
showed.
be like pretty close to that, or if they're
Yeah,
gonna
that's
look more like familiar, like what. Well, I haven't seen that concept art for Coco or anything, but like those are distinguishably Pixar designs still.
Yeah, the concept art is all they showed when they revealed it. So there wasn't like any like CG elements that they created that they're known for. I would imagine that they probably would have something already done, at least for a trailer for Luca, because I feel like part of their Pixar tradition is like whenever you go see a new Pixar film, they always have like a teaser trailer for their next upcoming movie. So I feel like if Soul did come out in June, we probably would have seen something by then. But with this
You know
weird
what? You're
push,
right. If they, well, actually, I mean,
I
I don't
mean,
think they've been really revealing their like teaser trailers as of late with their new films. I've noticed. But I mean, that's okay, I guess.
for me, that's because that's what they always do, and I feel like that's part of the excitement when you go watch a Pixar movie in theaters. Not only it's like you're watching a new Pixar film, and you're watching their new short that they've created, which I think for Coco was it with Coco? No, it was for Onward. I
Showed
guess
Soul,
I don't
yeah.
want to. Yeah, I don't want to say like it's an unfortunate thing, but it was a Simpsons short, which is fine. I enjoyed it, but I still would have preferred a Pixar short. But on top of all of that, as I was getting to, part of that experience, or yeah, I guess I would call it that, is seeing like a teaser trailer for their upcoming movie. I don't think they did that with Onward. No way, no, they did. They had that trailer for Soul
Yeah,
before
that's what I
Onward.
was trying to point out. But like, I think
Yeah,
when we saw Incredibles too, they didn't have a trailer for Toy Story 4 at the time. Yeah, it's
I
just
don't remember.
it's like a hit or miss, I guess, of whether or not they do get that teaser trailer out.
Yeah, but I feel like that's part of the fun of watching a Pixar movie in theaters, is that they always seem to have like a trailer or a teaser for their upcoming project, which normally before their teasers would be like original like animated content. And what I mean by that is like, with Monsters Inc., they did like this bit for their teaser trailer that never showed up in the movie, but it still got the concept of the movie across. Nowadays, their teaser trailers are kind of like, oh, here's clips from the movie that we have
Yeah,
finished. And then
things
they
are
compile
changing.
it together. Yeah,
John Lasseter has left the company, and there's
but
eight
that,
doctors now
well, that,
ahead, and maybe
well, that doesn't mean they can have more fun with their teaser trailers. Not that I'm complaining, but I just wish they kind of stayed doing stuff like that.
I mean they'll probably come
That's
back to
the
it someday, but you know,
Yeah, that was just part of the charm with Pixar movies, I guess. I've always been a huge fan of Pixar, so yeah, I guess that's what I would say about that. But going back to the original topic at hand, Luca, uh, very exciting that they have this new project coming up, and of course, I'll definitely be looking forward to watching it in theaters next year, whatever the exact date is.
yeah, the exact
Uh,
day of
I
theater
I hope
reopening
I
in
hope they don't
Milan.
announce it. I hope they don't announce it and push it back again.
Yeah, well, it kind of looks like it's gonna keep happening for the time being. Actually, Regal just announced that they're gonna reopen theaters by August 21st. I think they originally were aiming for July, as we mentioned before. Although, of course, because COVID is still well and alive, they have to keep delaying their reopenings. Also, considering we've got stuff like Tenet, Mulan keep getting delayed, the big tentpole
you know,
releases that were for the summer, but now they're not.
I don't know if you put it in the document for the next episode, but but they did announce that they were going to release Mulan on Disney Plus,
For
but with a
$30.
yeah, for an
Yeah.
extra $30.
So
Now
it's
I
like pay
don't
per
know.
view at that point.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a one-time buy or like
I think
or
it's
if
like
it's
a
like,
rental. It's a rental.
well, it's a lot of money if it's a rental, but then again, people always say, yeah, well, if you compare it to how much you spend at the movie theaters, yada yada yada, which I guess is true, but at the same time, when you release something at a streaming service, especially if it's like for Disney, you'd expect that it would stay there for some time. I mean, I don't know how well Trolls World Tour did when it came to video on demand. I mean, obviously it worked out pretty good in their favor. But I don't know if it's past that point where now you could just watch it whenever you want, or there's still that extra charge, or how much time they had to pass from like we have this period of purchasing the movie and then just watching it for free or whatever. I don't know how Disney's gonna handle that
We'll see.
for their for Disney Plus, because this thing is the first for Disney at least, and for Disney Plus. We've seen it before with World Tour, like I've mentioned, but with Disney being kind of a greedy company, we'll just have to see how that pans out for Mulan at least. And who knows if
that
Mulan
movie
will
is pretty
do any
cursed
good.
at this point, honestly.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
I mean,
just
that and
about to,
Tenet are pretty cursed. Feel kind of bad for Tenet. That was supposed to be Christopher Nolan's big movie this year, but I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who knows how well Mulan is gonna do, because underneath that whole Mulan thing, there's also been protests for the movie because the main actor is for the government. She's not for the people.
Yeah,
Because earlier this year there's been protests in Hong Kong about, I think it was about an independent Hong Kong, and China's just like, no, we want you to stay here. We don't want you to be your own priest. And then the government comes in killing their own people. It was a mess. Long story short, government issues with Hong Kong, and the actor was like, oh yeah, I support the government. And everyone is like, what? You're playing a character that's for the people, not for the government, and yada yada yada.
That just goes to show that the messages that Disney sometimes puts out on their bigger budget stuff like that, it's not from a place of heart. But I mean, I guess that's not too surprising because they're a big company.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see how Mulan works out. And before we finish off here, just to cover this off.
So I was going to mention that the theaters were going to try to reopen again. Regal Cinema specifically August 21st, but AMC, they're still in the dark for some reason. I've linked this article that was from Syracuse, New York. Sorry if I mispronounced that publication. Though they note specifically that employees and customers at both Regal and AMC theaters will be required to wear face masks when not seated. And, considering how our state, California, is treating the mask situation right now, this is nice that we're not going to see people without masks in the theater. But yeah, they're really trying to reopen, but we'll see how well they do while people are still pretty cautious about the virus. But at the same time, Walt Disney World's open. People are they're gladly going there. I don't know if everyone's going there, but
I think the smart ones are not going there.
Yeah, probably the ones who were holding annual passes. They probably dropped out when they closed. I don't know how much they lost, but yeah, whatever. That's Disney's problem. But you had a friend who works at AMC, by the way.
I have a friend who works at my local AMC theater not too far from here. He works as a dishwasher, so he's kind of low on the totem pole. Obviously, he's been affected by the situation because, as we've been talking about for the past few months, theaters have been closing, no one's working, and obviously he not working. He and I were talking about stuff. I'm always asking him what are you going to do about this? And for a while he wasn't sure if he was going to go back or how long he's going to be out of work. He's obviously taking unemployment checks for the situation. So he's not doing too well, but at least he's getting those unemployment money to keep him afloat, Same with a bunch of other people, because
hey, did they send him
I think I heard it.
Yeah, didn't they you told me that AMC sent him an email regarding whether or not, if they do open in the future, would he like to come back? Which that means they're definitely planning something for California. But but it's also pretty cool to see that they're pretty much allowing their current-ish employees to opt in.
Yeah,
in a way.
yeah, it was either an email or a phone call. I think it was a phone call,
Oh, so it
but
was a.
but
Oh, okay.
yeah, I think it was a call, but either way, he was contacted by AMC, the place where he worked at, and they were like, "Oh, hey, so and so, or just calling to see how you're doing. It's been a while." He didn't tell us what the whole conversation was, but I'm just kind of paraphrasing his paraphrasing of the call. But basically what they asked him was, "Oh, hey, if we do decide to open up sometime soon, or not, they never gave him a time frame as far as I know. They just basically said, "Hey, are you interested in coming back to work for us when we open up?" And obviously my friend was interested because he doesn't want to go through the whole job hunting nonsense, especially in this climate. So of
Yeah,
course he said
especially
yeah.
right in these untrying times, as they say. But they are untrying.
Yeah, so obviously he said yes, and I guess that was the end of that. But they didn't tell him when they were going to open up. But yeah, from the
Sure, he's
fact
on the
that they're
list at
called,
least.
yeah, because for a while my friend and his brother, who's also my friend, he works at Disneyland. The two of them were actually worried of the fact that if they do open up, they might hire new people and push out the old people. I guess we know with AMC, they're understanding if the employees they had before don't want to stick around with AMC after the situation here. But I guess if I get any updates from him, I'll let you know if you're interested.
Some
But
well, I guess it's not really insider, but direct information on theater reopening news. All right, cool.
with AMC at least, yeah.
Yeah, with AMC because
So,
there's like I said, they're still in the dark. They haven't said anything, and they're still losing a lot of money. That's all I could find in regards to AMC theaters news. They're just losing money every day.
yeah, so maybe that call does indicate maybe that they're doing something, but I haven't heard anything from him. And obviously, you said you haven't seen anything new. So we'll see. We'll see what
But
happens.
you heard it here first. AMC is at least inquiring to their employees that if they want to continue working there.
Yeah, that's as far as we know so far. I'm sure AMC would understand if some employees want to leave because of the situation. But yeah, like I said, if I get anything from my friend, I'll let you know.
All right, and
And
that
and with
about wraps it up
and
for
with
this episode. Really.
yeah, with that, we went through everything.
Again, our Twitter that we will post updates about our podcast, any content, and whatever you want to see is at LNW Duo. So keep an eye on us there or subscribe to us on YouTube for more podcasts and more videos from the Late Night Warriors. But any last words,
Yeah,
Chris?
please.
Not that you're done.
Yeah. Yeah, please give us an excuse to tweet. Follow us, tweet at us, I guess. For those of you that watch the Overanalyst, please watch these videos.
I've got
uh,
some other non-overanalyst stuff in the works too. So keep an
yeah,
eye out.
but I feel like that since that content got popular, that's what YouTube's algorithm is kind of pushing for. It's like
That
I
damn
almost kind of
algorithm.
I part of me kind of feels like if you're gonna do one more Overanalyst video, you should say in that video, since that would get more views. Oh, hey guys, we're doing a podcast. You should check it out. We already have a few episodes. Please check it out. No one's watching it because no one is watching it. In fact, I keep getting comments, notifications from YouTube. You got to get some of those views from the Overanalyst over to the podcast, since we are building up some sort of audience. But
I'll keep
that's
that in
my
mind.
end on that. Yeah, that is that's all I'll say. But I'm glad we got this episode out of the way. We kind of pushed it a little bit this one.